For 20 years, he had no name, just a ticket stub, a lighter, and a note that said, "Sorry we had to go. See you around." This is the haunting story of Grateful Doe, a young man whose identity was lost in a deadly car crash, until the internet refused to let him be forgotten. On a hot summer afternoon in 1995, a fatal car crash occurred on U.S. Route 58 near Emporia, Virginia. The vehicle, a Volkswagen Van Aggen, had veered off the road and collided with two large trees. Inside were two young men, both of whom died on impact. The driver was identified as Michael Hager, a 21-year-old student from the University of South Carolina. However, the passenger remained a mystery. The unidentified young man had no identification on him. He wore a tie-dyed Grateful Dead t-shirt, Levi's jeans, and black Fila sneakers. In his pockets were two Grateful Dead concert ticket stubs dated June 24 and 25, 1995, a yellow Bic lighter, and 4 quarters. A note was also found, addressed to Jason, signed by Caroline T. and Caroline O., along with a phone number lacking an area code. Attempts to trace the number led nowhere, and the identities of the Carolines remained unknown. Due to the severity of his facial injuries, visual identification was challenging. Authorities estimated his age to be between 15 and 21 years old. He had brown eyes, long curly brown or dark blonde hair dyed reddish, good teeth with wisdom teeth intact, and various tattoos and jewelry, including beaded necklaces and a faded star tattoo. Despite sending his fingerprints to the FBI, no matches were found. The case went cold, and the young man became known as Grateful Doe, a nod to his Grateful Dead t-shirt and the concert tickets found with him. Years passed, and the case remained unsolved. However, with the advent of the internet, amateur detectives began to take an interest. In 2004, a profile page for Grateful Doe was created on the Doe Network, a volunteer organization dedicated to solving cold cases. In 2005, a user named Trying to ID posted about the case on WebSleuths, an online community focused on crime and missing persons. These online sleuths analyzed every detail of the case, comparing the sketch and details to missing persons reports, and reaching out to the Virginia Medical Examiner whenever they thought they found a match. Each time, though, fingerprint comparisons ruled the match out. In 2012, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released a computer-generated image of Grateful Doe based on autopsy photos. It looked different from the original sketch, likely due to trauma to the victim's face. Regardless, users spread the new image far and wide. That same year, a Facebook group was formed by users Alyssa and Leah. Just like on WebSleuths, members dived into missing persons databases, but dead ends only led to more speculation. Some theorized that Grateful Doe might have been an abducted child, a foster kid, or that someone had stolen his identity while his family thought he was still alive. For many, it became a personal mission, thinking of the case as if it were their own child lost and unnamed. On New Year's Eve 2014, nearly 2 decades after the fatal crash, a user named Grey Metal posted a heartfelt message on Imgur with a collage of reconstructed images and case details. Writing in the first person as Grateful Doe, the post read, "Do you recognize me? I have been without my name for nearly 20 years." The post went viral, landing on Imgur's front page, and it inspired the creation of a subreddit to further spread awareness. The Facebook group tripled in size, and Grey Metal began collaborating with users across platforms to report findings and gather leads. Leads began pouring in. A woman on Craigslist thought she knew the mother of a missing Jason, but that Jason turned out to be alive. Several others said the images reminded them of a Jason or Jay who was a known Grateful Dead fan. The first promising tip came from someone on Facebook who remembered a Jason they met in Myrtle Beach a year or two before the crash. He worked at a shop that sold Grateful Dead merchandise, but there were no further details. Another lead from WebSleuths came from someone who recalled a Jay touring with the Grateful Dead in 1995, described as friendly but talkative, often hitching rides and staying at people's homes. Again, this source didn't know his full name. But the most promising lead came from Reddit. A man said he and two friends had been roommates with Jason in 1994 to 1995. They described him as a laid-back surfer from Myrtle Beach who worked at McDonald's and was a huge deadhead. He left in early 1995 and they lost touch. Unfortunately, no one could remember his last name after 20 years. Despite the lack of a surname, these leads provided valuable context. This young man likely went by Jay and came from Myrtle Beach. A new theory emerged. Jay may have been following the Grateful Dead tour, but after losing his wallet and backpack, he was trying to return home. Michael, the driver in the fatal crash, may have been giving him a ride back. A few days later, a man came across the viral missing person post on Facebook and immediately recognized the photos. In shock, he called his mother, Margaretta Evans, who then posted in the Facebook group, "Oh my God, this is my son Jason Callahan from Myrtle Beach. I've been looking for him all this time with no luck. Today my other son saw this Facebook page. After all the years of praying for him to just call me or come home, please inbox a message or phone number to contact me." Had they just found his family? It was confirmed that Jason Callahan had been missing but not officially declared dead. It was likely that the photos from the roommate were of this Jason. But was this also the same Jason as the unidentified body? You can never be completely sure without concrete evidence like fingerprints or DNA. You don't want to give a family false hope. Imagine not knowing where your son is for 20 years. Lisa, one of the Facebook group moderators, wanted to approach this carefully. She first reached out and used a lawyer to confirm that the woman was indeed Jason Callahan's mother. Next, a DNA test would be needed, and that could take months. One lingering question remained: if the Grateful Doe was Jason Callahan, why had he gone unidentified for so long? Eventually, to everyone's surprise, it was revealed that the mother had never submitted a missing persons report. That raised the question, why not? At that moment, it wasn't clear. But to proceed with DNA testing, Margaretta had to officially file a report. She described Jason as having wavy blonde hair and brown eyes, being between 5 feet 10 inches and 6 foot tall, weighing about 160 pounds, and being 19 when he went missing. Strangely, she said he had no marks or known tattoos, but the body clearly had tattoos. Still, it was possible he got them after he left home. After all, it had been 20 years. Memories can fade. Margaretta submitted her DNA sample. The community waited anxiously for months. When the results came back, they were inconclusive. The issue was that DNA inherited from a parent is random, half from the mother, half from the father. Unfortunately, Jason's father had passed away in 2009, never knowing what happened to his son. This is why acquiring DNA samples from multiple family members is important in missing persons cases. So, 2 half-sisters, a half-brother, and a cousin from the father's side submitted samples as well. On December 9, 2015, almost a year after Gray Metal's post on Imager and over 20 years after the crash, a post was submitted to the Facebook group. It read, "Update, the news we have been waiting for. The DNA results are back. Our Grateful Doe is in fact Jason Callahan, missing since 1995. I've been sitting here for who knows how long in shock, both at the sadness for his family and the fact that, here on Facebook, we are making a difference. Because of everyone here, this man will finally make his way home." Lisa and Alyssa continued, "On another note, I want this story to do so much more. I really pray this gives an important lesson: report your missing loved ones, or at least try to check on them if you haven't had contact in years." Alongside the post was a photo of Jason with the caption, "Rest in peace Jason Callahan, finally." Still, many were left asking, why didn't his mother ever file a report? All those people combing through missing persons reports never stood a chance of finding him. That question stirred the internet. Margaretta received a lot of hate online. While many criticized her actions, others defended her. She didn't do things the right way, one person said, but she's still a grieving mother. Fortunately, many in the Facebook group supported her. It turned out that Margareta didn't know what jurisdiction to file the report in. Her son had been following the Grateful Dead around the country. Jason's half-sister Shannon Mickelson explained that the family had assumed he wanted to be off the grid. They didn't think he was missing, they thought he was living. She thanked the internet community profusely. "I never expected to find my brother like this," she said, "but I'm grateful for every person who cared enough to keep looking." The story of Jason Callahan became more than a cold case. It became a symbol of digital age justice. A testament to what can happen when people unite for good. Today, the subreddit and Facebook group remain active, helping identify other unknown persons. They carry Jason's story forward as a reminder: the nameless deserve names. The lost deserve to be found. And no matter how cold the case, there is always hope. If this story moved you, consider subscribing and giving it a thumbs up. And if you're intrigued by unsolved mysteries, check out our next video about a group of friends who began dying one by one, years after playing in what they thought was falling snow. Click now to watch. Because sometimes, the truth isn't just stranger than fiction. It is fiction, until someone cares enough to uncover it.